The ruins of Vega Prime still smoldered when the broadcasts reached Earth. The Zer warlords had made their cruelty into a spectacle. They transmitted images of burning cities and screaming civilians across the Council's networks, daring humanity to respond, mocking the idea that anyone would come to their aid. 3 million dead, families erased, children dragged into ships as slaves. The Council's only response was a muted condemnation, another meaningless investigation. The Zer knew there would be no punishment. Humanity had always been too weak, too obedient, too desperate to survive. But they had miscalculated. Captain Adrian Cross stood on the bridge of the Dauntless, silent as the flames of Vega Prime burned across the holodisplay. He had seen war before, seen cities destroyed, but this was different. This was deliberate. This was meant to humiliate his species into submission. Commander Lewis Grant leaned against the railing, his jaw tight. They don't think we'll fight back. They think we'll crawl to the Council and beg for help again. Lieutenant Moravey's voice shook with rage. 3 million gone, and the Council won't even lift a finger. How many more do we lose before we stop waiting for someone else to save us? Adrian's hands curled into fists. His voice, when it came, was quiet, but it cut sharper than any blade. We've bled enough. The room fell silent. Every officer, every crew member on the Dauntless turned to face him. They had all lost someone on Vega Prime, on Mars, on half a dozen colonies burned in raids while the galaxy looked away. They knew what he meant before he spoke the words aloud. No more mercy, Adrian said. No more pleading. From this day forward, we don't ask for justice. We take it. For 2 centuries, humanity had lived under chains. The Galactic Council had restricted their fleets, forbidding dreadnoughts, outlawing advanced weaponry, limiting their colonies to scraps of space. Humanity had smiled and obeyed, pretending to be weak, playing the role of the humbled newcomer. But beneath the surface, Earth had never stopped preparing. Hidden in asteroid belts, buried beneath icy moons, cloaked in the shadows of Neptune and Saturn, humanity had been building warships the size of cities, weapons banned under galactic law, drones, swarms, and kinetic lances that no alien fleet had ever seen in battle. The Leviathan protocols, whispered about in human military circles for decades, were no myth. They were real, and now they were awake. The galaxy laughed at the first rumors. When the Kethari blockade of Mars vanished overnight, they called it propaganda. When the Zer raiding fleets stopped returning, they claimed mechanical failure. But then came the images. Entire alien armadas reduced to wreckage, their hulks burning against the stars. Human ships, massive and bristling with weapons, rising from the shadows like predators finally unleashed. On Earth, President Elena Ward spoke to her people, not to the Council, not to the alien powers, but directly to humanity. Her words carried to every colony, every outpost, every soldier standing ready in the dark. They thought our patience was weakness. They thought our mercy was surrender. They thought we would endure endless chains and endless blood. They were wrong. From this day forward, humanity does not kneel. From this day forward, those who shed our blood will pay in kind. We have bled enough now. It is their turn. The first true test came at Proxima. The Zer dispatched their grand fleet, 100,000 ships strong, determined to crush humanity before it could fully rise. The galaxy watched eagerly, expecting to see Earth's rebellion stamped out in one decisive strike. Instead, they saw annihilation. The Leviathan fleet met them in the darkness, 30 human dreadnoughts leading the charge. The Dauntless fired first. A tungsten slug accelerated to near-light speed, tearing through a Zer battleship like paper. Moravey directed swarms of autonomous drones into the enemy formation, shredding carriers before they could launch fighters. Lewis coordinated gravity torpedoes that collapsed cruisers into their own singularities, leaving nothing but silence where fleets had once been. The battle lasted 30 hours. When it ended, only human ships remained. The Proxima sky was filled with wreckage, burning fragments of the largest armada the Zer had ever assembled. The galaxy no longer laughed. One by one, the predators who had mocked humanity found themselves hunted. The Kethari warlords saw their fleets dismantled in surgical strikes. The Valith strongholds were shattered by precision bomb. Pirate kings who had enslaved human settlers were dragged from their thrones and executed on live broadcasts, but civilians were spared. Cities were left standing. Humanity's wrath was directed with surgical precision against fleets, against generals, against those who had spilled their blood. This was not mindless vengeance. It was justice, cold and unstoppable. In the council chamber, the alien delegates sat in uneasy silence as President Ward addressed them through the central display. Her eyes were calm, her words measured, but no one doubted the fire beneath them. For centuries we played by your rules. We asked for recognition. We asked for protection. We asked for respect. You gave us chains. You gave us humiliation. You gave us graves. That era is over. Humanity no longer asks. Humanity no longer kneels. To those who stood with us, you have nothing to fear. To those who made us bleed, your turn has come. Adrian Cross listened from the Dauntless as her words spread across the galaxy. He knew the war wasn't over. The empires would not surrender quietly. But it no longer mattered. Humanity had found its voice, and it would not be silenced again. On the quiet bridge, Lewis Grant finally spoke. "Do you think they understand now?" Adrian's gaze remained on the stars, burning with the wreckage of the enemy fleet. "Not yet," he said softly. "What they will. Every battle, every system we take back, every chain we break, they'll learn. We've bled enough. Now it's their turn to fear." The galaxy shuddered as humanity rose. No longer the polite newcomers, no longer the prey. The storm had broken, and it would not end until the predators who had feasted on human blood knew what it meant to be hunted.